is the time that will make brilliant recruiters. Now is the time, those people that stick with it. And there's a great quote from the Stoics and Marcus Aurelius, which is that discipline gives you freedom.
Welcome to another episode of Pints of You with me here, your host, Gary Goldsmith in the Cavendish in Marylebone. New Cavendish Street, the place to be. Now, I've got a guest today, but I do have to ask how to introduce her. Right, Michelle, I've known you for 30 years. I know, frightening.
Are we that old?
What do we call you? Bagwell? Flynn? McFlynn? Bagwell Flynn? Flynn Bagwell? What?
Just which one? Officially still Michelle Flynn.
Okay,
So-
which is a better name than...
I love the name Bagwell.
Only because you love him.
Because
Right.
I love him.
Okay, so...
Flynn is just a good name though.
It's a rocking name.
Yeah.
So imagine none of that happened. I'm here today with Michelle Flynn, a friend of mine, recruitment legend, entrepreneur, and now doing some really great stuff in terms of well-being. We share loads and loads and loads of very similar opinions about dedication, about purpose, about keeping yourself fit to take on the fight, and discipline in terms of the work environment. So we're going to talk about all those good things. But as ever, I have written a poem. Now I've got to say, I've had a couple today.
I'm nervous.
They don't always go well.
Oh, okay. We're ready.
And every time they go really well, I take full credit. If they're a bit shit, I blame ChatGPT.
Okay.
So, if I may.
Go ahead.
Michelle Flynn, a tech wreck star so grand. From computer futures, she made her first stand. With humour and popularity, she is quite the wizard. Yes. She rains sense and positivity. It's like a fucking blizzard. She mixed intrapreneur and entrepreneur. Of that there is no doubt. Inventing in-house staffing, she became the standout. Then from sneakers and shoes to well-being, she'd learn, gaining qualifications and loads of experience to burn. Loving her husband, her friends, and this odd rock recruitment sector, she's the can-do woman, no denying. We all respect her. Shoehorned.
So cute.
Yeah. She never says no, especially to me. A massive fan. She's a hoot, all will see. Michelle, you're a legend in every sense. With laughter and common sense, you are our best defence. In the world of tech and last year, you're fucking so close. You're our star. Keep being fantastic. Michelle, keep raising the bar. We're going for that. Doing a few in a day, it's really hard. It's really hard. This is called Pints for You, so we're supposed to have a cheers at this point.
Okay, cheers.
Cheers, non-alcoholic, by the way.
Cheers.
Cheers. Let's do it properly. Let's see if you're Joe. Is it Zoe?
Zoe. I need to zap it then. Shall I zap it?
Yeah, zap it. Let's do Zoe.
Let's do that. Let's get the little sensor up.
Right. So while you're doing that,
we're doing a tech advertorial live. This is fantastic.
Ooh. Do we just get sponsorship? There's a new sponsor for next season.
Yes, please.
Okay.
I don't think Zoe want in on this.
Yeah. I'll tell you another thing.
Okay.
Right. So let me introduce you to the public who might not know you. An absolute legend. We do say legend quite a lot when we refer to people.
5.6.
Oh, that's good.
5.6. Let's see at the end.
Okay, let's see. We'll get another one in. We do say legends quite a lot in Computer Futures because there were so many. But you are one of the standouts. So, I could guarantee 30, 40, 50 grand a month as a perm biller, an absolute dynamo of a machine. It was funny that we just bumped into Daily.
That's brilliant.
In here, because we just does one before, and you're talking about the fact that Daily had so much discipline, and he wouldn't let you out the door.
Basically, you will stay there.
And that's what made people brilliant. So I'd love to talk about your Computer Futures story.
Yeah.
Because it's one of the good ones. And then becoming an entrepreneur in your own right. So there's the whole shoe story, which I'm a massive advocate because I think I must be up there amongst your top people.
Yeah.
Not only the ones I bought and the ones that you gave me. Sorry. And then we missed the in-house piece because we spoke and we were talking about doing a business partnership. And
we did.
And I gave you all my advice and said there's not enough revenue to share. Go do it all by yourself. And you smashed it. So I'd love to talk about my talent acquisition team's a shit. And you don't care anymore, so you might as well just throw it in there. The sneakers bit, and what you're currently doing in terms of well-being, and the fact that yesterday you spoke to my daughter and the people at Hapstar and talk about the synergies, that how important it is to keep people's heads screwed on.
Yeah.
I do have a different opinion on this, and we're probably going to come to blows over it. But
that's okay.
So it's keeping your head screwed on, because everyone talks about stress today. Yeah. And now it's a legitimate reason not to turn up or try out. And that gets
Ooh.
no, I knew
I'm
we'd go.
all right with that.
And that's where we talk about that. But also it's about mental health and being healthy. That helps people be happier and perform better, and that actually is that whole thing about power and positivity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which I think Capstar were going to nick, so we'll talk about that. So it'd be lovely to talk about your journey, because you're truly exceptional. Nice to get a different perspective about how the recruitment sector has changed as well. Mm-hmm. How you managed to carve out a living, and everything you've done seems to go pretty well. How the fact you love coming to London and spending time in London, even though you live in the burbs and just outside Brighton, because my missus is desperate to move out and I don't want to. So
I don't think it's ready for you.
Yeah, yes. There's so few pubs and so many bands. So I just don't think I'd have that. And how you always have the energy every morning to get up and go, right, everyone, hello, here I am on the beach and it's fucking cold, rah. So we do that. We might even talk about the work that Matt's doing and getting 80 people to be in the cult that they didn't know they were in.
Yeah.
So we'll throw Matt under a bus as well. Is that all right?
It's all good.
Should we do that?
Yeah.
And then we can play some games.
Okay.
So we're going to have to go at this, because
Yep.
it's quite pacey.
Okay, let's do it.
And I'm sorry it took me 3 times to get your poem right.
It was worth it.
Wine's amazing. Oh my God, how did you get to CF?
Oh, like most people, I fell into it.
Oh, bullshit. You're literally, I imagine you were there at school when you're speaking to the careers advisor and went, oh, I tell you what, I don't want to be a footballer or an air stewardess. Air stewardess, how sexist.
Yeah.
I desperately,
I'd be terrible at that.
I desperately want to be in recruitment.
That was not how that happened at all. So I fell into it. I graduated. I've got a degree in maths. And weirdly, in the 90s, no one wanted to employ a girl with a degree in maths. So,
But today,
I know.
I mean, they'd be all over it. STEM, what? Tick box?
I know, exactly. But thank goodness, back in my day, that wasn't a thing, because then I would have got a job in maths and we would never have met.
Yeah,
we would have somehow.
Yeah,
We'd have found each
Yes.
other. So sort of trying to get a job, going for interviews, not getting anywhere, went into a graduate recruitment agency, and they said, have you thought about doing recruitment? And I was like, no. And they said, well, you can earn this in the first year. And I was like, oh, okay, yep. So I went and had some interviews, was getting some no's, got offered a job as a resourcer from Abraxas, like that Julia Roberts moment in Pretty Woman where you're like, oh, big mistake. Got offered a job doing as a consultant at Computer Futures, had no idea what it meant, didn't know it was a sales job.
How many interviews?
What, at Computer Futures?
Was it the classic 10 in a day of absolutely exhausting?
Yeah, so I got interviewed by Daly. Daly and I had a little bit of a run-in, because I think I'd asked him for sort of how did I do, and he was like, well, I don't know yet if I'm going to employ you, and I was like, why not? And I don't even know where that came from.
Oh, he would have loved you for that.
And I think that was what kind of spun it for me. I walked into Simon Arbor's office, because it was then when they were still doing the interviews as well, fell over part of the carpet. There was sort of, and I was like, oh, I've lost this, and then we just started.
You could have sued him. Literally, you were getting that job regardless. It's like
that would have been better. I wouldn't have had to work, much better. And then just ended up talking to him about my mum. Just having a laugh. So somehow got the job. Turned out I was actually really good at it. 4 of us started on the same day. I was the last one to make a deal. I was questioning myself. I'm no good at this. I don't know what I'm doing. I shouldn't just I should leave. And actually what had happened was, because I'd had the bumps to get to my first deal, it built resilience. So the 4 of us that all started together, they were all wonderful. I ended up being there the longest, being a long-term sort of top biller, getting on all the achievers lunches and all the achievers weekends away, and getting the nice car. And because I hadn't given up, I'd learned. I kept watching Lucy Gilmore, who was my amazing manager. And then, as we said about Daly was sort of, you didn't leave the office until Daly left the office, and he never left the office. So, yeah, fell into it, and so glad I did, because I loved it.
What do you think you would describe as that sort of that soupçon, that drive-by of something that made that business so successful?
I think that we all truly believed that we deserved our seat and that we could be massively successful. And we saw it. We were surrounded by it. Yes, there was the paychecks on the foreheads, but you're looking at that and going, I want some of that. Or when the sort of someone would pull up, sort of arrive with their brand new car that they had sort of achieved, you go, I want that. So we actually believed that it was real. It wasn't just a dream. And then it was the best training ground. The training in the discipline, in the routine, in the just pure commitment and hard work. And when we'd have the power hour and we were all in it together, it was brilliant. And we all just had a great laugh as well. So
it was good people.
It was great people.
And they were really bright, and you could learn from everyone. I think everyone was really giving.
Yeah.
But the energy that people went to work to make money.
Absolutely.
It's literally, I always remember Ollie Craggs. I think we were with investors one day, and somebody said to Ollie, one of his rookies, can you tell me the time? He said, I'll tell you later. Right? So it's that absolute blinkered focus on, okay, so I've got 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, whatever I'm going to invest in that day.
Yeah.
I need to be either doing a deal or getting closer to a deal.
Yeah.
What was your best month?
Oh, God, can't remember. I was doing 10 deals a month regularly. I did the PC support market, so it was high volume, lower fee. But, yeah, if I wasn't doing at least 7 deals a month, I was pissed off.
And did you know your conversion rates? We used forensic.
Yeah. Got a maths degree. Absolutely. I knew exactly what I needed to do. And I remember when we'd have the office moves around and they'd be looking at where people were going to sit, I was like, do not put me in the middle. Put me on the outside. If I want to come and have a chat and get involved in the banter, I will do that. But you leave me out there, because when I'm working, I am head down. And at the time, I didn't know where this drive had come from. Now, in sort of reflection, I can look back. And when I was 14, I said to my dad, I want to be a primary school teacher. And he went, no, Michelle, it doesn't pay enough. And then, lo and behold, I went and did a maths degree. I got into recruitment, and then everything that kind of followed was all about that drive to make my dad proud. Not a doubt about it.
We used to like people who were very well balanced and they had chips on both shoulders. so there was something to prove to themselves and something to prove to somebody in their life. And that was, or they played sport at a high level where they were competitive and knew what it took, because you're going to lose more times than you win. Yeah. Until such time as you start winning more than you lose and building that resilience.
But it was also the competition. I had Vas Constanti, who was my contract counterpart. He was just unbelievable. And the amount of times he tried to flip my perm to temp to perms, I'd be running around the other side of the office, having words with him. Then there was Marcus Davenport, who did testing, which was also a high volume market. Anytime he went to the board, I was following. So there was that real competitive, but also friendly. It wasn't sort of like, we joke about like going around and sort of like wrestling Vas about leave my clients alone, but we were all actually helping each other.
But to be fair, the rule was he could try and flip any perm jobs, because generally he gave you more perm jobs than he got contract jobs. Yeah. And he didn't nick a penny from it. So that was kind of the golden rule.
Absolutely.
And what do you think about the market today? Because I know a lot of your customers are in that space. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure they've got the resilience, and I'm not sure they're actually prepared to put in the shifts as we did. I mean, what hours were you working?
I think the difference back then was we didn't have smartphones. So when you were sat on the tube, I used to commute in from North London, and I'd sit on the tube and I'd be reading a book, or I'd probably be having a nap. You'd get into work, that was it, you were on. That is when suddenly you've got your sort of Rolodex, your sort of your cards.
Oh
A to Z, Computer Weekly. So you were there.
And it was User's Yearbook.
I forgot about that! Oh my God, it was so old school. But you were not late. As soon as the clock on the phone, not your watch, on the phone, turned 8:30. If you were in after that, doesn't matter what's gone on, you're staying late that night covering the phones. So you knew what the rules were. And then when we left the office at, say, 7:30 generally, when Daly would leave, then you were done, because we didn't have the phones, we didn't have laptops. So you'd all go over to the Clachan, and then, as I was listening to your conversation with Bill Bottriell, the fun that we'd have at the Clachan. So those working hours were work. And I think the difference nowadays, there's pros and cons. Nowadays, people have got smartphones. From the minute they wake up to the minute they go to bed, they are always on. I think that is difficult. Whereas the other side of it, there's a lot of good technology that they've now got access to. I didn't have LinkedIn. I didn't have all of the other sort of amazing tech that is out there now.
Make up jobs to get some CVs in.
Basically, you had to sort of fax CVs and come up with sort of witty titles for Computer Weekly adverts to try and get people to apply. And you'd wait for the post every morning. Oh, did any CVs come through? And someone would go around and hand out the CVs. Oops. So I think it is very different. I think.
So was that your wallet? It sounded very heavy. That's got to be a wallet.
Oh, if only.
Yeah.
So I think it was really different. I think that sort of the number of agencies back in those days, there was less competition, Computer Futures, and then the rest of S3 were kind of up there leading the way, whereas now, 42,000 agencies in the UK? It's hard for people, but I think that we have to then look at how you make the most of the opportunity, because if you're going to go into recruitment, don't go in it to be average, go in it to be brilliant, not only for yourself and your own achievements, but from what you can set up financially that will set you up for life. So I think that's where you have to then go, well, how are you going to spend that time that you're working to make sure that you are giving yourself the best opportunity to be the best you can be?
So what then triggered for you to go, I think there's an opportunity to do this in-house thing?
Well, it didn't really happen like that. So I hit 30. I achieved all my financial goals. So I had a bar chart on my monitor. And when I wanted to buy my first flat, I knew what deposit I needed. And every payday, anything I'd earn over a certain amount would go into savings and mark it off on my little bar chart.
Do you know when Stink asked me, Tallulah asked me, what advice would I give to the 18-year-old myself? So, save half my commission. What an idiot. I mean, I've had a decent time. I mean, I've got a lot of... Well, actually, I've got so many memories, I can't remember them. But
that's what I was doing.
Yeah, that was really,
it was like,
really smart.
I need that amount of money to live off and have fun, but the rest goes away. And then I got the deposit, bought the flat, now new bar chart, mortgage. Want to pay the mortgage off, same thing again. So it meant that Lucy, Daly, they knew... Yes, I loved the lunch clubs, and yes, I loved when my brand new Merc arrived on Regent Street and the truck sort of lowered its back and out came my lovely car. I loved all of that.
Everybody outside giving it.
Oh, yeah.
And we celebrated each other's successes, which was amazing.
What a day that was. I just felt like sort of on top of the world. But it was all about, I need to know that I will be financially secure no matter what happens. I can end up working in a supermarket and I'll be fine. So then when I paid the mortgage off, it was almost a bit like I'd lost my why. Well, what's my purpose? So at that point, I just turned 30. I definitely had a bit of a midlife crisis. So I went travelling, went to find myself, was meant to go for 2 months, went away for 7, loved it. Whilst I was away, Did
S3 give you a sabbatical at that time?
Yeah, so we agreed it was a sabbatical, because basically, when I was at S3, I'd been promoted to management because I was a top biller. I was a shit manager. I was so crap at it that I had the choice. I was like, right, well, either I leave because I'm rubbish at this and I don't like being rubbish, or I just speak to them.
Right. Can I just ask?
Yeah.
You've never been shit at anything.
Oh, no, I was.
But I'd like, literally, if I could have an A-frame and draw this, it'd be amazing now. What made you less than perfect?
I think I was trying to be the best at being a recruiter and being a manager. And I think that a billing manager is one of the hardest jobs in
hardest job.
recruitment.
The hardest year you'll ever have is the first year as a billing manager, bar none.
And that was it. And I just, I found it really hard to discipline my team. I think I cared too much. And I didn't know how to pull people up when they weren't performing, which obviously is not a good trait of a sort of
especially when you actually learn your craft in an environment which is like whip cracking.
Yeah, and I couldn't do it. And I felt uncomfortable about it, and my billings were going down, my money was going down, and I was just like, I don't want to do this. So instead of leaving, I thought, why don't I actually just talk to them about how I feel? And they were like, okay, no problem. Go back being a biller. And I did, and then stayed there for, I think, about another 6 years, because I was there 8.5 years in total. And they just left me to it, and I was just hitting all the targets, making the money, everyone was happy. And then...
Seville, Vegas.
Basically, Miami, New York. It was just unbelievable. I remember going to Monte Carlo. We decided we'll have a little girly weekend in Monte Carlo. This is a Thursday. And we were like, should we do that this weekend? And it's like, yeah, let's do that. Should we get the helicopter from Nice to Monte Carlo? I look back now and I'm like, I was 22. I was like living my best life. It was just brilliant.
But that wasn't that you took it for granted. You'd earned that.
I worked
because
bloody
you
hard for that.
worked so fucking hard.
I worked really hard.
And when you put that sort of dedication and focus and personal discipline into it, then you can go and just blow it.
Yeah, because it gave me the opportunity to do both. I could save and make sure I was going to be financially secure.
Who'd you go with?
I went with Rihanna and lovely Sam Mullally.
Oh my God.
I know. But Sam wasn't 21, so we couldn't go into the casino because she wasn't old enough.
Oh no, I just, they're old bags or something.
So, well, we did leave her outside and go and have a little look. Obviously.
Yeah, take some pics.
But we're in a nightclub with Jerry Halliwell, and sort of you can only buy sort of vodka by the bottle, £50 for a sort of Coke mixer. And we were just like, this is unbelievable. And that's what Computer Futures gave you. Amazing friends, amazing opportunity to have the best experiences and set yourself up financially for life. And that comes from discipline and hard work and learning your trade and putting in the effort.
Okay, I'm just going to wrap this up because could you summarise that? Because I want to talk about you going off and doing the in-house stuff then. If you were to speak to people, like the new generation, who are thinking, 2022, easiest time it's ever been in recruitment, turn up and there's a queue of people outside just trying to give you cash.
Yeah.
Right, that's the best time any business has ever had. S3, every brand I know, 2022, best year ever.
Yeah.
And people came in with this laissez-faire attitude into 2023 and went, oh fuck, this is quite hard, because they didn't.
Yeah.
And if you think about the generations who've been starting recruitment businesses, so many businesses started, that 42,000 started in the last 10 years. They've never seen a tough time.
Yeah.
What they think is tough is like, when it got really tough with COVID, everyone was furloughed.
Yeah.
You got time off to sit in the garden during a really hot summer. So what advice would you give the generation today so they can actually take this experience? Because it's there still.
Yeah.
It's there still to be had.
It's still there. I'm not saying that it's easy, and I'm supporting a lot of recruiters, and I know that it's hard, so I'm not trying to sort of play down and say that the market is easy, because it is not. But now is the time that will make brilliant recruiters. Now is the time, those people that stick with it. And there's a great quote from the Stoics and Marcus Aurelius, which is that discipline gives you freedom. And if you can have that discipline, and this isn't just...
Chuck in a bit of Roman.
I did. Chucked in a little bit of the emperor, why not? But it's like, and that's not just discipline with doing your BD and making sure you're hitting your KPIs. This is life discipline. This is your morning routine. This is how you eat, how you sleep, how you socialise with your mates. So sort of...
And who are your mates?
And absolutely, who are your mates?
Because toxic people in your environment doesn't help.
No, and I actually had a rushed off to hospital, suspected heart attack due to exactly that reason. And that is a lot of when I'm supporting people is, who are your people? Who are the people that are going to lift you up? And this is, I think, where it's always so amazing to spend time with you and coming to the RDLC lunches, because, oh my God, it is like sort of being in a sauna of like heat and energy and excitement, and that makes you want to do well. And it's hard because when people are feeling the hard times, how do you get that energy?
I think it was very easy. Dean talks about when he used to turn up at CF and it was so many great people around you, you just became a great person. And he changed loads of his mates, and he just said, because they weren't on that same journey or weren't enjoying that journey for him and were being a bit bitter and twisted about it and trying to turn him off of it.
Yeah.
But if you turn up into this cauldron, you become a sum of the parts of the people around you. So you become the sum of the parts of the closest 5 or 6 people that are close to you. So if you choose really good people, you become naturally kind of good people.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's quite cool.
And there's actually a part of our brain that will hunt that out. So if you tell yourself you're looking for a new fancy car, suddenly all you're going to see everywhere is that new car.
I'm not sure if that's Apple not listening to you. so literally you might have said it out loud to someone, and then suddenly all you see is Lambos
everywhere.
Yeah.
But it's like there's part of your brain that if you tell yourself something, your body will do its best to go and make it happen. So you're surrounded by people and you're surrounded by that positivity. You're much more likely to go and make stuff happen.
I'm just going to throw a ranker because we're going to come and talk about this.
Okay.
But I need to get the other parts
Let me have a little sip of that.
Yeah, we'll just see. I have a big sip because I want to see the effects of that by the time we finish. So you're travelling around the world.
Yeah.
You've had your epiphany.
Yeah. And
in-house.
So get a call from a client. We'd become friends. And I was travelling and she got in touch and she said, I've got an idea. When you get back, do you want to come and run recruitment for us? And I was like, oh, okay. First thought was absolutely. Second thought was, oh, hang on, how's the money going to work? So we came up with an arrangement that worked for both of us, which meant that I was really motivated because I was ultimately getting paid a commission. And they were getting someone that was going to work really, really hard. I already knew their business because I'd been recruiting for them already successfully. So came back from travelling 7 months later and went in-house, Microsoft Gold Partner.
So that I don't hide the fact that I just think talent acquisition teams are the worst thing that ever happened to the staffing sector. That they're painfully boring. As, it's like that HR TA piece. They sit at the bottom of the food chain. They're not impacting their C-suite in terms of how they go about hiring. I don't mind about getting. I don't mind being cancelled by HR. But they're only actually ever representing one brand, as opposed to representing the best interest for the talent. So when it becomes talent scarce, why would I want to work with one person who's representing one business as opposed to working with a great recruiter who could put me in front of more companies, give me more opportunity, and I can actually then hive out. But you made that a success, whereas I think most TA teams are superfluous and pointless and slow down the process and basically justify their own existence. There's quite a lot of venom in that.
There's quite a lot going on there.
There's quite a lot going on there, and I know it's a lot of me, but fuck them. But you had 4, 5, 6 brands, and I remember I spoke to you one year, and you placed 100% of the vacancies that they gave you.
Yeah.
And I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
I think I know the reason why. But I'd love for you to explain it. Why were you so successful at creating this outsourced in-house model?
So what I did, first of all, I went fully in-house. So I was doing that for my old client. And I took them from...
EMC.
So it was Conchango.
CM Square.
And then they got bought by EMC.
Yeah.
So...
How did I remember that?
Well done.
Oh my God.
Look at you.
Oh my God. Given the person who's been pickled for the last 20 years, how do I remember that shit?
The hair's coming back. So yeah, I joined Conchango.
Yeah.
Unbelievable, brilliant business, tech and business consulting. Then we grew out the creative arm, at which point I hired a man called Matt Bagwell. Oops, married him. And
so he married the boss?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think he would say yes now. Back in those days, he was way more senior than me. But I grew the business. I became Computer Weekly's IT Female Blogger of the Year, which was hilarious. I was writing blogs. I was running events. I was co-hosting the London.net user group. I really learnt my trade.
What was the place? There's something Tavern.
The Fantastic Tavern.
How do I... Oh,
You're doing so well.
Yeah.
So we set up a creative community called the Fantastic Tavern, where we would meet in underground drinking sort of dens, and then we would just bring all of Conchango's clients in and have an absolute laugh. And it was all sort of just client connections and networking, and so that was brilliant. And that's...
I love the fact that you were fearless, because you're actually bringing client and candidate together in the same space.
Oh God, yeah.
And not worried about them just hiring, because they loved you and valued you so much, because without that environment they wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, so this was when I was working at Conchango in-house.
Just protecting yourself.
But that also went, when I then moved, when Conchango got bought by EMC, I kept doing their recruitment for a while, and then I didn't really want to work for a large American company, and they said, well, why don't you set up your own business and we'll be your first client? Okay. So Monday morning, same job, same desk, suddenly different payment, winning. And then that went on for a while, and at that point I was able to now take on other businesses, which I started to do. I stopped working with EMC because I like to be able to make a difference. So I would have 5 clients on exclusive. I'd have an email address. I'd have a desk in their office. If anyone applied directly, that would still come through me because they knew I was building the brand. And I would get everyone internally bought in. So when I said, here's a CV, they'd say, yes, please. When I'd say, can you do an interview, they'd say, when do you need me? Because they understood the importance of candidate experience, and the candidate got a great experience because I let every single candidate know from the moment I got their CV. If you're a no, you got a message to say, sorry, you're a no. If you're a yes, you will be told feedback at every point in the process.
That's sick, yeah.
So it was all about that. And I remember one of my coachees recently, top biller, said to me, what was it? So I thought, well, why don't I ask one of my clients? So I sent a message to the old CTO I used to recruit for, and I said, what was it? And he went, you were authentic, you were a decent human being, and you became part of our team, so we trusted you. And even though I was an external person, they trusted that I could be among their staff, even though I was recruiting as well for other businesses, and they trust that I had their best interest in mind.
And 100% fulfillment across 5 brands.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember you telling me that. And
Yeah.
it was just, I was blown away by it. And actually, it's wrong of me to feel it, but I was absolutely really proud of you.
Yeah.
I thought it was really, really cool.
Thank you. I became the enemy of recruiters, though, and still I get this now. They like, as soon as they heard that I was in there, they were like, oh, that's it. We've lost that client. Flynny's in there. And you're like, yeah, see ya. It's great.
But to be fair, we're talking 5, 6, 7, right? That didn't really matter because the world's your lobster.
Yeah.
It only matters to the people who are actually kind of small-minded and think, oh, I've got a client now, I'm all right for a year.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, so that, can I thank you for that, because that's a really true insight into the world of recruitment and what it takes to be really good. And if you're going to run your own business, it doesn't mean that you have to get loads of bums on seats and just, sit there and think, well, it cost me 10 grand, I need a deal and a half, and do the stuff you don't want to do. If you're a truly great recruiter, you can still create a business around it, and loads of people would never have even thought of that. So absolutely go.
What I did was I paired up with the amazing Sam Mullally that I met at Computer Futures, and she was my right-hand woman. So we were just like an unstoppable team, and it meant that I didn't have to manage her because I'd known her forever, so we were just peers. We had a lot of fun, and I could go on a holiday and know that she'd look after stuff.
And she wasn't allowed into the casino, so that was always good. So she wouldn't waste her money. Let's talk about sneakers. Let's talk about 7 feet
apart. I know. What a day that was.
So how the what?
I know. I still think how the what.
And you and Matt were together at this point, right?
Yep. So Matt, at that point, he was MD of a creative agency. And I remember I was on site at Moonpig, and I'd gone for a little...
Would you send him a card?
He did get a lot of cards. No, I'd already married him by this point. I was on site, I'd gone out for a little walk at lunchtime, and the phone rang, and it's Matt. And he said, I'm going to give up my job and I'm going to make shoes. And I just laughed. And
Did you need to like that?
Literally.
A little laugh in the background.
Like, he'd never made shoes before. The only thing he knew about shoes was that they go on your feet, and he liked them. And I just went, all right then. And that was that. Literally. And then I just went along with it. And then there was the day we went for dinner at 15, the Jamie Oliver restaurant. And we had gifted Jamie Oliver some shoes. We had made 7 shoes because there's 7 of them, so it's 7 sevens, including a little baby one for little River Rocket.
I've got a pair.
Yeah, it's so cute. And so I just go along with stuff.
I didn't get the baby ones.
No, you didn't get the baby ones. They weren't going to fit your feet. And then we'd gone for this dinner to try and meet Jamie, to kind of like, oh, look, we're the people that sent you the sneakers. And we didn't get to meet him. And I posted out on Instagram that we'd been there. And then we got a message back from Jamie saying, I can't believe I didn't get to meet you. Let's make some sneakers. So not only did Matt start a sneaker brand, but he then made a shoe with Jamie Oliver, which is the most random but fun experience. And I just said yes. And then you were so kind with the RDLC lunches. You were like, come along, bring the shoes. And then you basically force everyone to buy a pair. So all of the pirates just wear these shoes. Luckily, they're really bloody good.
They're really good.
So, but it was like, why not? So yeah, I as your poem says, I just say yes. Yeah. Just trust.
It was, and Andy Mauer says, and he's a big weapon. He just said, still the comfiest shoes he's ever worn. Yeah. And the good news is, I bought so many pairs, and I was gifted so many pairs, your angel, that I never wear them out.
I know. They last forever, and you got so many of them. Yeah.
So it's really good. So I've never lost a pair. They're in houses all around the world.
Yeah.
So that was brilliant, but it's a tough gig, though, isn't it? You got making money with a product. Online, trying to get your name out there.
It was so tough.
Even with Matt, who's a brilliant marketer.
Yeah.
It's like, Fuck, that's hard, isn't it?
Yeah. And then what happened was Meghan Markle got pictured with a pair of Asia on, and that was that. We learnt a lot about what if we were to do it again.
Do you know, I think she's a bitch anyway. So.
I'll leave you with that one. If we were to do it again, we learnt a lot about what we would and wouldn't do differently. But luckily, we sold the business just before COVID, which was fortunate because no one was buying shoes in COVID. So as much as it was so sad, and I still think that...
What are you on about? COVID, my missus, her competitive sport became shopping. I was doing constant Zooms and Teams meetings, and they were all getting interrupted with Amazon being deliverers of everything known to man. So I'll believe everything you say, but don't tell me people weren't buying stupid shoes at that period of time. Yeah,
buying slippers and running shoes.
Okay, there was that. Okay.
Yeah, so it was just fortunate time. It was sad, and I think what was really sad was just at the end we had made this most amazing ski sneaker, which was beautiful.
Ski.
Yeah, and it was so they never got. We had the tester bit through, whatever you call
it.
I'll wear a 9. We never got them. So I think in the future, if the time was right, we would launch that again and bring out the ski sneaker. It was beautiful.
I'll be all over that because obviously we ski.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we thought. It was all for you.
My ego says, well, this is what Gary did. And now we're in COVID.
Yeah.
And this whole culture of well-being, mental health, people crashing and burning around us. And it was tough, right? As much as I kind of try and laugh about it, we were trying to do regular sessions. So the Lulu was doing yoga, we were doing cooking with people, we were doing quizzes. We were just trying to get people active. Some people were still making money, some people weren't. It was just a really tough time.
Yeah.
Was that the moment when this whole concept of well-being triggered, or was it long before then?
It was before then. So it wasn't intentional, as it seems that none of my pivots in life have been. I woke up one morning, what would we be at, luckily, 9 years ago now, and 9 years ago, and I had a pain in the right side of my chest, left side of my chest, and I remember sort of saying to Matt, "Oh, hang on, before you leave, I just want to get out of bed and just check. This feels a bit funny. I must have slept funny." And the next thing I know is that I'm on the floor. And Matt's on the phone to 999, counting my breathing, which is ironic now with the fact that he teaches people to breathe. So I'm on the floor, he's counting my breathing, and then the paramedics turn up, I get rushed to hospital. I thought I'd had a heart attack. Matt thought he'd lost me. We'd only been married sort of 3-4 months. And then when you have a suspected heart attack, they test your blood, and if there's a chemical in it, they know that you have. Fortunately, I hadn't. They did tell me, and sort of this came as a complete shock, that I've got a cyst on my heart. So you hear that and you're like, what? Turns out this is quite normal. And you're like, doesn't sound normal, but they're like, no, this is quite common. You just don't often get to see it unless you have chest x-rays and stuff. So there's a few. I had a bladder infection. I had sort of a bit of a chest infection.
Keep it light.
There's a few different things. So then, because it wasn't a heart attack, luckily, yay, we're all right. I then carried on business as usual. And for the next 3 years, I was tired, I was getting sick, and just paying no attention to it because I was doing bloody good at my job. Then I collapsed again 3 years after the first one, head butted something, 2 big black eyes. I need to make a difference. What's going on? Doctor's telling me nothing's wrong. Had some therapy. She told me I don't like silence. No fucking surprise. So then I went off to a health retreat in Thailand for 2 weeks. It's brilliant. I thought they were going to talk to me about weight loss. They didn't. They said, let's talk about stress. And for that 2 weeks, I learned how to live properly. And then I came back and I decided to train for my own interest. When I became qualified as a health coach, one of my senior clients said, "You're different, can you help me?" Then could I help his wife? And then you asked me to do a talk at the RDLC Super Lunch. And that's kind of where it went, because you said to me, why don't you support recruiters? You understand it. You get the life. And I was like, oh, light bulb moment. Makes sense.
Stress, de-stress. Happy people make you money.
Yeah, basically.
And if you can keep people's heads screwed on.
Yeah.
And it literally, it's a really interesting dynamic, especially with Lula working at Hapstar, that people quite often think the stress that is in their life, the easiest place to put blame, because you want to blame it on something. I'm not sure if that's the right word, but that I'm stressed because, and it's not my fault, is work.
Yeah.
But actually, 9 times out of 10 it's not. It's
Mine
other
doesn't
things. The other things impact that.
Yeah.
And it was important to get someone who knew discipline, knew what it took to make a lot of money, in front of people and just say, but let's think about all the other dynamics. What other things are going on in your life? And then suddenly people open up.
Yeah.
But it was almost like every time I got a non-exec gig, in went Dan Ermson as a CFO and talked to people about managing their money and doing cash flows, and in walked you and said, get your head on straight, because this is not going to be an easy ride.
Yeah.
When you're going through periods of change in business, it's really quite stressful on the leaders, but also it's quite stressful to live in a state of change in the organisation.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to better people, or the economy changes and you've got to do something, you need a Flinny in the corner going, whoa, everyone. Okay.
Yeah.
Just understand what is going on here.
Yeah.
Embrace it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what are the work programs that you're doing currently? How do they sort of manifest?
So it's a combination. Sometimes I get the emergency call, sometimes from you.
Yeah.
I'm worried about this person. Can you have a conversation with them? Sometimes it's right, can we do a talk about a particular subject, whether it's resilience or mojo or mindset or stress management, or other times it's a more ongoing work. So there's a number of the pirates that I work with on an ongoing basis where anyone in the business can talk to me every month. Some of the time I'll go in person because I love doing that. If not, we do it on the phone because I'm like, go for a walk, get away from your desk. You're much more likely to tell me what's going on if I'm not staring at you.
The
on
classic
screen.
walk around the block
walk around the block, exactly. So we go for a walk, whether that's in person or whether that's sort of on the phone, and we just figure out what's going on. It's like, right, what? Because often you think it's, as you said, you think it's this, and it's not, it's this. So I thought stress was my job. It wasn't. My own recruitment business, brilliant. Loved it. All worked really well. Actually, it was some toxic people in my life. So when I figured that out, the next thing was, oh God, as a terrible person that I'm not liking to communicate how I feel, it's like, how do I deal with this? So when I'm working with people one-to-one, sometimes that's about, let's look at your time management, let's look at the discipline, let's look at your morning routine, let's look at the KPIs. Like, I'm not a recruitment trainer, but I can absolutely talk about recruitment, sort of if that's something that is the problem. But also, if you're not sleeping. Like, there was one guy I worked with and we got his phone out and looked at his screen time, and he spent 36 hours a week on Instagram and wondered why he wasn't sleeping and why he was ending up unwell. So it's connecting the dots and then kind of you're wondering what he's looking at.
I was thinking, I'm thinking, what the fuck are you looking at, sweetheart?
Yeah.
But that's a problem in itself.
Yeah, and this is the thing, and like sort of the new book by Arnold Schwarzenegger talks about time, and we've all got time, and he just calls bullshit to everything, which is brilliant. But it's like, let's look at how you spend your time. Let's look at living a purposeful life. What are you choosing to eat? What exercise are you doing? What people are you with? What are your values? And giving people that space to figure stuff out.
Do you know, I think the work you do currently is currently. So I had to stop myself there, didn't I? Actually, well done, you. As my sister might patronise me with. You've always been a rock star, but this is probably the most important stuff I think you've ever done. And I generally think that you're solving proper. You're not putting plasters over stuff, and you're solving problems. Can we just talk just slightly? And a lot of people now are talking about, it's really important to talk about stuff. Mm-hmm. And I do think there's a negative element to that everyone's talking about it, so it actually creates, I can blame my environment, I can blame stress for being a bit shit. Yep. But actually, you're just being a bit shit.
Yeah.
And there's nothing else to blame about that. And it's like, well, don't laugh. But there's work life. So I always thought, if I work really hard and I'm successful, it makes me happy, which takes a happy mood home, as opposed to watching Loose Women or working from home and being on my own. I never want to be on my own because I can't be trusted. I mean, I hate being on my own. It's literally, I'm the worst person to be in the company of. I'm way more better behaved in front of other people than I am on my own. So I'm just not sure this whole culture of you got to talk about it is the right narrative. I think you've got to understand it.
Yeah. And I think that's it. I think it's understanding what's going on, understanding then what you can do about it. And that's the difference with coaching, is that and I'm a really practical person, so it's like, okay, if you've got a problem, we'll talk around it, you'll understand what the problem is and maybe where it's come from, but then what are we going to do about it? How are we going to solve that problem? And often we know what the problem is and how to solve it. We're just making excuses, or we're not listening to our inner voice telling us. Sometimes I'm just giving a bit of science behind what are the tools to help us manage stress, because recruitment is stressful. It's why we like it, because we get the adrenaline buzz. So let's look at the tools to help manage that stress, to therefore mean that we can keep doing it and making lots of money. So I think that talking about it but not doing anything, it's a bit like all the gadgets. If you've got loads of data off your Whoop or your Aura Ring or whatever, but you don't do anything with the data, same as a KPI. If you've got your KPI but you don't actually then do anything about the KPI, you're not going to get any better. So I think it's about giving people the tools to be able to make the positive change, and them understanding that maybe if you don't have caffeine after lunchtime, you will sleep better, which will mean you have more energy the next day to bring your best self into the office.
Love you for that. Literally, I should literally just have you and an accountant on my shoulders, because that makes perfect sense. Should we play some games?
Oh, ooh, nice.
I can't remember what letter we said we were going to...
H.
H. For?
Health.
Oh. Have we done that? Why did we get an M for Matt?
Okay, yeah.
Right. Well, you spin it. You're Debbie McGee.
Oh.
I'll make these Paul Daniels.
There we go. Hey! We don't even. Fuck it out. Yeah. Do you know what? We're in series 3 now. We are cheating like shit. So it's brilliant. I love you. And and literally anything you ever ask for, if I ever ask for a favour, but be owed a favour, not a fiver, right?
Yeah.
You've always given me loads of love, and we've supported you. But I've got to say, Matt's made such a difference to you and your life. But Matt's brilliant in his own right? He's got some really cool stuff. So should we just talk just glowingly, but sure, because it can go on for a while, his running man journey, his breathing work, the work he's doing in terms of creative, and this brilliant opportunity that we can't really talk about because it's under an NDA, but it's really good. So Matt's made a massive difference, and I think having a really supportive partner who actually just really powers you. I was with Romola yesterday, and I was quite sycophantic and made me slightly sick in my mouth. She did say Simon was the wind beneath her wings. I think
have I got to come up with something like that
No.
now?
I literally, I think he's got a very big wallet, and I think that helps. Tell me this dynamic that you guys have got, because you're thick as thieves. And basically, I'm going to do shoes, and suddenly you're doing shoes.
That's kind of how it works. It was sort of like, I'm going to start a business in recruitment. Oh, okay. And I think that's what's so lovely about it, is that we just evolved together. So when I went to Thailand, he didn't come with me. And when I came back different. And he embraced it. So when I was like, right, we're going to eat differently, he was like, yeah, no problem. And the one thing, so talking about M, is that I was like, we're going to meditate. And he was like, no, not doing that. Meditation, no, you keep doing that. That's your thing. I'm going to run. Running is my meditation. I was like, I'm not having that. So then we'll go to another M, is I took him to Ministry of Sound for a breathwork session.
Oh, she's good.
I've got them all coming on. And Saturday morning, breathwork, Ministry of Sound, sticky floor. And we're all lying there. And I had been to this type of breathwork before, so I knew this was special. When it finished, I looked at Matt and I knew it.
You made me float.
Exactly. I got you floating
and I was
off the floor.
I was the most negative. So like, why the fuck am I doing this? And I came off and went... I floated.
Yeah, exactly. So I got Matt to a place where he was going to float, and then he was like, I am all in. And then he went and trained under various instructors until he found his proper, all science-based. So he trained under a guy called Patrick McEwen, who has got something called the Oxygen Advantage. And then he became a master instructor so he can train the trainers. And now on a Saturday morning, we get 80 people on the beach in Shoreham, all doing breath work together and then going for a cold swim. It's just how to tell people you're in a cult without telling them you're in a cult. basically.
That's brilliant. So they pay for the privilege of actually getting hypothermia.
So with that, we don't charge because Matt does a lot of charity, long distance running. So the thought is that then if people want to say thank you, they can donate to the campaign against living miserably.
Should we talk about the... oh, that's a lie. That's the Marylebone lie detector.
Oh,
yeah.
Did I lie?
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Well,
She's keeping all the money from the breathwork on the beach, isn't she? I knew it. I knew she was too good.
Yeah.
So I didn't like about her from the get-go.
They're literally, I think they're moving back to Hove. Things are going well. Fuck Shoreham. We're going back to Hove, sweetheart.
I was like, do we charge? No, we definitely don't charge.
I love the fact that you actually challenged me and you looked at me, do I? Am I? Reassurance. Yes, you do. So tell me about the long run, because that was ridiculous. I mean,
and that
by
was
the
another
end,
thing. That was just another where I said yes. He said, I want to run around the country. I went, yeah, no problem. And then COVID happened, so we had to put some delays on it. But 2 years ago, he left. We started in Cornwall, and he ran around the whole of England through every county, 50 kilometres a day. And ended up in Regent's Park 26 days later, and I was driving the support van, feeding him, sort of getting his dirty trainers, washing them, so that next day he could run again. And we raised over 50,000 for the campaign.
That's amazing. Didn't you just let him just run, get the camera crew to see that, and the local press, drive in there, go for a pub lunch, and then get him to do the last mile?
I should have done.
That was so much easier.
Should have done.
Brilliant.
Yeah, but damn Strava. Strava actually wants to show you what running you've done. Actually got to do it.
I'm gonna give you that. What's next for you?
Well, I would say who knows, because I never know. I don't plan. I'm a big believer in just when you put goodness out there, goodness gets you. And I had these ideas. I want to do a TED talk, and I want to be on sort of Stephen Bartlett's podcast. But I also really enjoy travelling.
You don't need to be on Stephen.
Well, not now I've been on yours, exactly. Yeah. That's what I thought. What do I want to do next? This is it. This is the ultimate. But I love to travel, and I love doing what I do, so I will keep doing it until I will love doing something else more.
Right, I think we should go to a desert. I know, it's right.
I think she's great.
She's good, isn't she?
I think she's great.
I know.
I don't know how you've got so many nice friends. You're an arse, but you've got so many lovely people around you.
It's bonkers, isn't it? Yeah.
You are the average of the 5 people.
Yeah, except for me. Can we go to a desert island?
Oh. What happens there? I don't know, I've got prep for this.
So the desert island's quite easy. Quick fire round.
Yeah.
So it's quick.
Yeah.
Right, so quick, you say something and the reason why, end.
Okay, yeah,
right?
got it.
And the idea is for people to learn a little bit more about the precious princess that you are.
Yep.
Well, sorry, I sounded really like sort of Jewish princess. The precious person to me, and you are a princess.
Yeah.
That's better. Right,
okay.
One wish.
For everyone just to be kinder to each other. The world needs it at the moment.
Is there money to be made in? Right, okay, one prediction.
This is just a get to Dean Kelly, but I think that the prediction is more people will start going mainly plant-based for health and for the planet. There you go, Dean.
Did you call out Dean?
I did call out Dean. I'm only doing that because he's not here, so I can be brave with it.
So like, Gino and Annie, the guys that look after my place in Ibiza, were vegan, vegetarian, and they had to start eating more meat because they were becoming brittle-boned.
And I'm not saying no meat. If you're going to eat meat, eat the right quality of meat. That's the key thing. It's about whole foods, but mainly plants. The
reason I had to come off the health and wellbeing group because it basically became like a cookbook for vegans. And it's like making me like...
It's not that now. Now it's the carnivore diet. I don't get involved in the battles.
I'll just leave that alone.
I leave them to it.
Yeah, just leave the food alone. The best moment you've ever had? Don't say Matt and get married.
Oh, God, okay. Oh, that's hard. Probably when my Mercedes arrived on Regent Street.
Oh, brilliant. What was your first deal celebration at CF?
Oh, God, no idea. Couldn't tell you. That's a long time ago. But I know it would have been bloody brilliant. No idea what it was.
If you had to do one do-over?
I'm not a big one for regrets, if I'm honest. So I didn't get the A-levels I was meant to, which meant I went to a different uni, which worked out best. Didn't get the job in maths, got a job at recruitment, ended up the best. So I wouldn't do anything over because actually I just make the most out of everything and it's got me where I am.
He's going to love that. One guilty pleasure?
Oh, guilty pleasure. That's
I really like a dirty burger outside a football
what
ground.
Have I written down about that? Guilty pleasure. Oh, I do love pizza, Express pizzas. I know, sad, isn't it?
What-
Weekend I went there 5 times. 5 times. Literally used to sit in this one in Southgate and just rotate friends in and out.
Just watching people.
Just eating pizza.
God.
I would say the vegan pepperoni is not as good. That is the one thing I don't like about not eating meat is I miss pepperoni.
Do you want pepperoni pizza for lunch?
Should we go for a pepperoni
Yes,
pizza?
fuck it. Brilliant. Fuck the world. One person that you would like to meet or could have met in history?
Oprah. I think Oprah is fascinating. I think, firstly, she's met loads of amazing people, so she'd have lots of really interesting stories. But I think what she has achieved, having come from sort of a difficult upbringing, proves the fact that sort of you don't have to have been born with a silver
Do you know what?
spoon.
Apart from the fact that she might give you a house, I can't stand her.
Ooh.
I think there's something kind of evilly wrong about her. That she owns.
Oh.
She kind of owns American TV. And I think it's sycophantic and it's fake and it's bullshit.
Oh.
And I think she's part of the Illuminati. I think she's a wrong 'un.
Oh, interesting. We can debate.
But then again,
debate that over our pizza.
I'm on the fence about it. Not a fan.
Is she on next week?
Not a fan. And she likes Meghan, so, you know, she can fuck off for that. Right, one food type that you could eat for the rest of your life.
Curry, every time. Love a curry. Particularly onion bhaji. Oh,
See, I grew up just outside Southall, so I can be quite racist to my friend called Jat, and I always just say, but I come from Southall. and apparently that's my get out of free
the lovely Jat, again, Computer Futures.
And a really successful guy in his own right. One luxury item that you can't do without.
I hate shopping. Don't like it. I'm a minimalist, one in, one out, so I don't have a lot of stuff.
Like husbands.
But I'm keeping him.
Okay.
He's probably my luxury item, actually.
Oh, it's expensive to keep.
Oh, yeah, on occasion. He likes shopping. So the phone, or I did recently, I've got a camper van and I bloody love it because it just gives you freedom to go and park anywhere.
Which one did you get? The VW one?
Yeah.
Have you got it all pimped out with all the wheels?
Yeah, we bought it. It was so basically a couple had got this white van, brand new, and then had spent all this money pimping it up. It's like gold, big wheels and everything, and then they split up. So she sold it on him to basically kind of get back at him. So we got a nice negotiated deal on that.
So which one of them was actually shagged in the back with somebody else?
Well, no one, because the bed hadn't even been used.
Oh, winner!
Nothing had been used. So
Winner!
I love my van.
Winner, curry dinner. What mantra do you live by?
Be positive. I think you've got to be positive in life. Your thoughts control your feelings, which control your actions. So you've got to think positively.
Do you still choose your mood before you put your feet down out of the bed?
Yeah. I live in it sounds really but I live in a state of gratitude. I am grateful for everything. I'm grateful for the people in my life. I'm grateful for sort of where I live, the opportunities that I have. And by putting that positive thought into my head, it means I have a good life.
You said something about that, and that's where I took this whole thing. So I get up really early. You have to run for a pee because I'm 58. It's for the 6th one of the night.
Oh, I can solve that for you.
Then I go back. Oh,
I know.
It's not asparagus based, is it?
No.
Then I sit back in bed, do lots of emails, messages, and when I feel ready, I just basically close my eyes and choose my mood.
I love that.
So sometimes I want to be, I choose to be a dick.
Yeah, and that's okay.
But that's all right. But I just think it was,
But if you're going to be a dick, then be a positive dick.
Yeah, I know.
So I just think you've got to be positive about whatever
How do you stop people peeing at night?
So you look at what they're having
Deserts.
beforehand. You look at when they're sort of what's the last thing that they eat, how much liquid they're having, how much caffeine they're having. Have they got a little infection going on there that might need a bit of healing?
I take, do you remember this? I take 2 apples, some raspberries and strawberries, and 2 litres of water to bed.
That'd probably be the problem.
That's part of the challenge. Then you're having a fucking picnic rather than going to sleep.
Yeah, I don't sleep, Brendan. And if you were to advise people one book to read, what would it be?
Well, now you're going to go against me because it is by Oprah. So I'm still
How
going
to
to
Be a
say
Dick?
it. No, it's called What Happened to You, and it said we got to stop asking what's the matter with you, and we got to go what happened to you. And it's the only book I've listened to on Audible that I've wanted to cancel my whole day for. And there is a quote at the end of it, which is about basically whatever has gone in the past. It may not have been what you wanted it to be, but it has made you your strength, and your strength is your power. And it's just a brilliant book. So yes, it would be a book by her. Also, though, Matt's reading Be Useful by Arnie, and he is loving it. So when I've read that, it might become that one.
Arnie is a bit of a rock star, right?
Isn't he just? I had no idea.
I had no idea. But I started watching all the documentaries, and the guy's an absolute weapon of a human.
And that's the point, discipline. And one thing he talks about is the fact, and you did this exercise with me, we drew a circle of 24 hours, and you were like, how do you spend your day? Which I now have borrowed and use that quite a lot. But Arnie talks about that. It's like, don't tell me you haven't got time when you're spending an hour and a half on TikTok. And his point is, if you want something enough, you will go and make it happen no matter what. So I'm looking forward to, I'm going to listen to it because I like his voice. I think it's funny.
Okay, how are we doing with time? Have I got enough time for an emergency question?
Yeah, I've got all the time in the world. By the way, I can't believe that you and Arnie have been put in the same sentence of giving advice. Just say.
Yeah. As with all great things, I will be back. Right. I've got 12 questions there.
Oh God, I'm nervous about these.
1 to 12. Give us a number.
7, obviously.
What's your biggest fear?
Oh, I've got 2. One that happens on a daily basis, and I talk about it a lot. I've got a big fear of heights. I've had therapy for it. I used to go to basically sushi samba 3 lunchtimes a week to go up and down in the lift to get over my fear of heights, but it's still there. So that's a big one.
But to be fair, we had 3 lovely lunches.
Well, I didn't get to eat though. I used to just go up and use the toilet to get the nice hand soap and the moisturiser and then come back down again.
Absolutely. So you're tight.
And bit morbid, but being ill when I'm old. I don't want to be ill. I want to live a great long life and then just fall asleep, and that'd be that.
I don't think I can afford to live long, so I'd like to burn out quite soon. Right, give us another one.
Number 4.
1, 2, 3, 4. Favourite film?
Oh, The Notebook.
Oh, fuck off.
Oh,
Literally.
come on.
Literally. Do you know what? We just invested an hour and then she throws it away with that shit.
It's all done. Just wrap it up now. We're finished with her.
We won't even post this one.
Music. No. Edit that out.
Oh, come
Edit that out
on.
and put an Arnie movie in.
All right, The Terminator.
Yes, get in. Right, okay, one more. Oh, no, I've got one for you.
Okay.
You're 18.
Oh, yep.
It's Friday night.
Yep.
It's Friday night. There's Sunday. Remember, you're 18. It's Friday. This isn't going back. This is just asking what she's going to do. You're 18. It's Friday night. What would you be doing?
Oh, I would be absolutely... Well, the advantage is I'm the baby of the year, so all my mates are older than me. So I'm 18. I'm just allowed to drink, because obviously you don't drink till you're 18. And,
Children.
I know. There was a pub in Southgate called the Rising Sun, because it was an Irish pub, and I'm Irish. I had a lot of Irish friends. We'd be in the back room drinking till late.
Lock in.
Brilliant. Lock in. Loved it.
I just gave these guys here as a thank you for giving me this room for free. Touch. I bought them a key, and it's the Cavendish membership, and the idea is that if this is private members bit up here, you've actually got a key to lock in.
Oh, like it. Always thinking.
Always thinking. Right, so this has been brilliant, and thank you very much for coming in and staying over last night in the Premier Inn. We're literally
classy.
Living the dream.
Most comfortable beds ever.
Yes. And thank Matt for doing this. Have I forgotten anything?
No, you're all good.
So I'd just like to wrap up and say that you are absolutely joyful to be around. My daughter is such a fan.
She's amazing.
And we are, loads of people across the Pirates and my friends owe so much to you. But also, it was just great because I could always walk past Perm and go, 40 grand there, 30 grand there, 40 grand, 50 grand there. And you were always making money. And I never forgot that. And you were owed special favours because good people deserve good people around them.
I remember you gave me those Gucci sunglasses when we were in Barcelona.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I remember that. So we were on a company weekend away, and I didn't have any sunglasses, and you went, hang on a minute. And you went back to your room and you came down and you just handed me this pair of Gucci sunglasses. And I was like, oh my God. I know, look how lovely you were.
Little things.
Exactly.
And that's why we're still friends today.
Exactly.
You owed a favour, not a fiver.
Exactly.
So you are absolutely brilliant. I would advise anybody who's got, if anybody else believes in the fact that if anybody else believes in the fact that it's really important that more happy people you have, the more money you make as a business, and actually isn't a good thing because you're responsible for people's incomes and well-being, their relationship with their family, why wouldn't you invest a few quid on the legend that is Michelle Flynn or Bagwell or whatever you want to call yourself? You've been absolutely dying to be here today. But we always ask our beautiful guests to say, is there one thing you'd like to ask, or how would you like to finish this today? We give you the famous last word.
Okay, so I got one question I'd like to ask you, which is if I was coming to pitch to you back in the Computer Futures days, well-being, how would I do that? Because it is hard when you're trying to pitch to people something that there isn't necessarily an obvious sort of ROI on it. So how should I pitch to you?
Oh, bitch.
Oh, I just enjoy a little drink of wine whilst I'm waiting for this answer.
So I like measurables. So I probably would ask you to prove there's ROI.
Yeah.
And I would probably be on your side to say, like, totally believe in this, desperately want to give you money, desperately want to say yes to this, but how do I measure it? So what are we going to measure? So if you were to use something like Hapstar and then you measure how people are getting on better, how they're feeling about stuff, that gives me a measurable.
Yeah.
When people say it's very difficult to talk about marketing spend and getting an ROI, bullshit.
Yeah.
If you're getting an extra half a deal, or you get more vacancies, or you get more candidates, those parts of your marketing are working.
Yeah.
It's measurable.
Yeah.
So if it was measurable, I do it. What I wouldn't have is something which is fluffy and gives people a reason to say, well, I'm a bit stressed, apparently, because Michelle's just told me I'm slightly stressed. And that would be anti-culture.
Yeah.
Because there's a homeless guy who lives around the corner from us, and basically he was so stressed with midlife, he saved up money so he can go on Brighton for holiday.
Aww.
Right? Everyone's got stress. So Charles has got stress.
Yeah.
Sorry, the king. Right? So it's, just chuck that in like I know him. But everyone has got stress.
I could say he was at my wedding. Just putting that out there.
Was he? How? Yeah. What?
I know.
What? Where?
I know, exactly.
Okay, you can't leave that there.
I got married on the Mall at the Institute of Contemporary Arts, and by random chance it happened to be the Queen's official birthday. So all the flags were out, and in all of my wedding pictures we've got the Queen, we've got Charles, we've got Kate, because they were going past where I was getting married and the Queen's waving up. Boom.
Okay, well, to be fair, your royal stories are better than mine. so that's not great. I would also, if you'd pitched to me, and you said, trust me, I'd have just said yes. Yeah. But if anybody else had pitched to me for fluffery, I'd have probably said no, unless they could prove it.
Yeah, and I think now more and more you can prove it, particularly as you're saying with the likes of apps like Hapstar, the Deloitte report. It's sort of more like, right, you can prove this stuff, and you just look at the top billers and you're like, right, what are they doing? Okay, they're bringing discipline in across all areas. Do you know what, the other thing as well? I love doing those things about above and below the line. So you got a page of A1 on the A-frame, a line across the middle, and above and below the behaviours. And if you start to measure the behaviours of your people who are bought in and value you, do better behaviour. And if they start behaving badly, then you've missed the boat. You want it, so you don't invest in happiness when businesses are in a bit of a doldrum, because that's much harder, pushing water uphill, catch them when they're doing things right. So if you think, and every business has got a culture, it's either positive or toxic. Yeah. Matt taught me that. I think you got a little bromance going on. I think it's absolutely spectacular as a human, yeah. So if you've got good things going on, if you caught me when things were going really well, 100% I do this. I'm not sure I'd invest in happiness or this stuff, stress, if something isn't going quite as well. Yeah. You've got to catch them at a moment in time. Yeah. Because otherwise they're going to think it's just a con, or it's not real, it's just a fad. I think if I would mix it in with 3 or 4 business changes that might make a difference, as well as. Yeah. But it's always a good thing to do. Yeah. Really fucking hard question, by the way. I know. There you go. Yeah. Absolutely hate you for that.
Michelle Flynn, thank you very much for being here today. You've been an absolute darling. James, thank you very much, brother, for doing this. Thank you very much for tuning in, people. Well, Michelle, she's an absolute ledge. See you soon.